Namaste, and welcome to the Buddhism Guide podcast by Yeshe Rabgye. If you'd like more of my podcasts, blogs, videos, or guided meditation practices, visit my website, yesherabgye.com. And if you'd like to support my work, go to patreon.com/Buddhism Guide. I hope you enjoy this episode. This episode is called The 12 Links of Dependent Arising. Now, before I start, I suggest you look at the picture of the Wheel of Life, so it will be easier for you to understand the 12 links. A link to the picture can be found in the show notes to this episode. A central teaching in traditional Buddhism is the principle of dependent arising, which states that all things happen through cause and conditions and that they are interdependent. No phenomena, whether outer or inner, occurs except as a reaction to a previous cause, and all phenomena will, in turn, condition the following results. So, in a nutshell, because of one thing, something else arises. Nothing in this world arises from its own power. Everything comes through causes and conditions. By looking at things in this way, it avoids the two extremes of eternalism and nihilism. Here, eternalism is the view that there is an external God that shapes our fate. Nihilism is the view that there is no relation between action and result. Therefore, our fate is predetermined. The Buddhist view asserts that while there is no godlike figure that controls our fate, there are causes and conditions that affect our lives. We're able to change our lives because these causes and conditions can be known and changed. There are 12 links that constitute the cycle of existence that makes up samsara. This is the endless cycle of dissatisfaction that constitutes an unawakened life. We can escape this cycle of birth, old age, sickness and death by breaking any of these links. The links are not regarded as a linear path, but a cyclic one in which all links are connected to all other links. Being able to escape from samsara can be initiated at any link in the chain. Once any link is broken, the chain is broken. In Tibetan Buddhism, the 12 links are depicted in the Wheel of Life, also called the Dharma Chakra, which represents the cycle of birth, rebirth, and existence in samsara. Link 1. Unawareness. Being unaware is the basis for all the other links. It is a lack of awareness of how things really are. Our belief in a true self and thinking phenomena are permanent leads us to project things which do not exist. We become deluded and confused. It's also about not understanding and implementing the Four Noble Truths. The first truth states that life brings about suffering. When we misunderstand this truth, we fail to realize the true nature of our lives. We believe we are seeing the world as it is, but in reality, we're mistaken. This is where our first sense of a self is starting to form. In the Wheel of Life, this link is depicted by a blind person. Link 2. Action. When we misunderstand the way life is, it causes our minds to become poisoned by greed, anger, and delusion, known as the three poison. These cause us to act in certain unskillful and negative ways. It's not just because of the 3 poisons we perform unhelpful acts. There are numerous causes, but these are 3 of the main ones. We need to remember here that any act we carry out through our body, speech or mind will have consequences. This is depicted by a potter making a pot. Link 3, experience. Because of our unawareness, the first link, we perform an action, which is the second link, and this plants a seed in our mind. This seed is just a potential at this point and may or may not come to fruition. That will depend on if we do the same action again. In the future, because of the seed we planted, we'll have an experience. And this is depicted by a monkey, because this is how our minds operate. We jump from one thing to another, just like a monkey jumps from tree to tree. Link 4. Name and form. Name and form mean the 5 aggregates. Name refers to the last 4 aggregates: feelings, perceptions, actions and consciousness. Form refers to the first aggregate. The way we experience the world is through the 5 aggregates. Firstly, there is a form. This can be an object, sound, taste, etc. And this is picked up by our consciousness. Now at this point, the form has not been labelled. It is just an awareness. It gets labelled by your perceptions and conceptions. Once it's labelled, it causes a feeling to arise. This feeling can be pleasant, neutral or unpleasant. We then act on this feeling. You can read more about the 5 aggregates by clicking on the link in the show notes. This link is depicted by 5 people in a boat. The people represent the 5 aggregates. Link 5. 6 perceptual entrances. All types of form, objects, sound, smell, taste, touch, mind, are picked up by our 6 sense faculties: eye, ear, nose, taste, touch and mind. In Buddhism, the mind is also classed as a sense organ. These are all developed in the womb and will soon become our only means of perception of this world. Hence, they're called the 6 perceptual entrances. This link is depicted by a house with 6 windows. Link 6. Contact. Link 4 is concerned with subject, and link 5 is the object. This link is a contact between these 2. It's a contact between the sense organs and the form through the consciousness. 3 things are happening here: the form, the faculties, and the linking consciousness. For example, an object, the eye faculty, and eye consciousness. There is a form which is picked up by the faculty, either the eye, the ear, the nose, and so on, and then linked to the corresponding consciousness, such as the eye consciousness, and so on. This is happening simultaneously. This link is depicted by a man and a woman embracing. Link 7. Feeling. When the sense organs encounter a form, they bring up feelings. These feelings can be pleasant, neutral or unpleasant. One of these feelings will be present in every experience we have. This is depicted by a man with an arrow in his eye. Link 8. Desire. Contact, link 6, leads to feelings, link 7, which in turn leads to link 8, desire. So, first we make contact with a form. This leads to feelings, and these lead us to have desires. These can be desiring for good things to last, which they obviously won't, or bad ones to end, which, because of impermanence, they will. This is depicted by a drunken man. Link 9. Grasping. In the last link, we craved and desired for things. In this link, we hold on to them. We get attached and grasp at the things we like and want. This attachment to things brings us untold mental suffering. It must be noted that at this stage, the process is still only mental. A man picking fruit is how this is depicted in the Wheel of Life. Link 10. Becoming. This is where patterns of behaviour are formed. Up to now, the things we have craved for were just on a mental level. At this point, the actions now become physical and verbal, and so it's known as becoming. This is depicted by a pregnant lady. Link 11. Birth. Because of the imprints from your patterns of behaviour created in the last link, you have a certain rebirth. This is depicted by someone giving birth. Link 12. Decay and death. Once we are born, it's inevitable that we'll age, get sick and finally die. This link contains all the physical and mental suffering of the human existence. It's depicted by a dying man. Now, let's try to break this down to make it more understandable. Because of our unawareness or ignorance of how the world really works, we act in negative and unhelpful ways. This leads us to have experiences. These experiences can be broken down into the 5 aggregates: form, feelings, perception, actions, and consciousness. Form is picked up by our 6 sense organs: eye, ear, nose, taste, touch, and mind. This contact leads us to have feelings and desires, which lead us to start grasping and becoming attached. This in turn leads us to act, and the imprints of these actions are what cause us to take rebirth. Because we are reborn, we start the cycle of old age, sickness, and death all over again. By understanding the 12 links, we can begin to appreciate that things do not happen on their own. There are always going to be causes and conditions. One thing is inevitably going to lead to another. One of the best ways to break this cycle of an unsatisfactory life is to truly understand the way the world is, not how we want it to be or wish it was, but how it actually is. To do this, we really need to imbibe Buddha's key teachings, and these are: understand and implement the 4 Noble Truths, understand impermanence and not just on an intellectual level, understand the dangers of attachment and believing in a permanent and autonomous self, understanding that things happen through causes and conditions. If we can understand and implement these teachings, we'll be able to break the first link in the chain, which in turn will break the whole chain forever. This is the end of this episode, but if you'd like to listen to more of my podcasts, go to my website, yesherabgye.com. So thank you so much for listening. And remember, the only person we can ever really know is ourselves. Bye for now.